ready to throw it to you for introduction.
Okay.
Even though, everyone can already hear you.
Who is this?
Who is this guy?
Can we get the heckler out of the audience?
Security.
Okay, one sec. Just want to make sure this all stay the same. Okay, yeah, I'm ready. To do introduction now. Oh, I didn't hear you.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Hello, my name is Captain Ezekiel, and this is Resident Evil 7 Biohazard. This is the any % New Game Plus category on Easy. This is the most ran one for the game. The world record for this category right now is 127.48 by Horror Does Speedruns. My PB is second place at 127.55. Yeah, I've been grinding this game a lot recently, but this game is on the censored version, so we're saving about 25 seconds from the original version. The game has a lot of gore. It's very fun, very exciting for the most part, but we should be all good to go. Whenever I guess ready, do you want to count down? Or?
Yeah, I'll give you a countdown.
Okay.
Let's do this. Let's get. Can we get the crowd involved in this countdown too? So let's start this run in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Thanks, guys. So the first 15 minutes of this game are actually an introduction to the game. It's just dubbed Guest House because the first part of the game you're just in Guest House. There's actually not a whole lot in the first 15 minutes of the game. There's a couple combat situations that you want to be fast at, a couple interactions that you want to be quick at. But a lot of it is following this character on the screen named Mia. Basically, the TLDR of this whole story is you're playing as Ethan Winters, and this is his wife who went missing 3 years ago. He shows up in Dovey, Louisiana, sends him an email saying, hey, come pick me up, and you drive all the way to Dovey, Louisiana to pick her up. And it doesn't go anywhere nearly close to as planned, so you end up in a lot of shenanigans. But that's basically what the premise of the game is you're here to save your wife. But yeah, this basically all this whole cutscene is she's just explaining, hey, I lied vaguely about something, and now I need help. Very exciting stuff. This cutscene lasts about 3 minutes, I think. So it's there's really not much to say about it. The thing about RE7, and you'll see me do it a bunch, is pausing and changing frame rates and retrying. Resident Evil 7 only counts by the in-game timer. When you pause, the in-game timer stops. Certain load screens stop the timer. There's only one skippable cutscene in the entire game, so that doesn't really matter. But yeah, you'll see me jumping into the pause menu quite a bit. You'll see a lot of inventory management. You'll see a lot of frame rate manipulation. AI manipulation. You'll see a bunch of weird stuff. I'll try my best to explain a bunch of it as much as I can as it comes up, but for the most part, I have control here now. You'll see me basically switching frame rate and retrying. So here in a second, I'll be getting out of the car, and we'll have the actual movement that I get to do. Once I get control here, all I'm doing is basically running to Guest House. This first split here is basically just me traversing these lovely-looking woods. There's a lot of invisible walls here, so you'll be seeing me cut corners pretty tightly and kind of hugging some things. This is so I can turn very quickly around corners and avoid touching the wall. You'll see me kind of bounce off some things because I'm human, I'm not perfect, so I'll still touch stuff and bounce off the walls because it's hard to do that, incredibly consistently because they're just invisible. You see Jack will walk up here and my character will slow down. There's a random skip that no one knows what causes it. It's kind of a bug where sometimes Ethan will just run right through there instead of being slowed down. It's called Daddy Boost, and no one knows what causes it. It just kind of happens randomly. This whole first part right here is nothing but just a quick jog. All right. So now we're coming up on Guest House, and we'll be coming out on the first retry of the game. I believe, I haven't really counted, but I think PC has 9 retries. So let me do that here in a second. When the checkpoint shows up in the top left is when the retry is active, and I can do it. The purpose of each retry is a little bit different. This one increases my speed in Guest House. It resets my value back to Ethan's running value outside of Guest House, so I get incredibly fast when I do it. Oh, missing that button there, but that's one of the best time saves in the game. And I'm going to be dropping my frame rate, not retry, to 30. We do that because squeezing through small little doors like that and squeezing past enemies becomes incredibly faster when you're at 30 frames per second. You'll see a couple of different iterations of that. Subsequently as well, high frame rate affects damage to enemies, similar like Resident Evil 2 Remake. Whereas in Resident Evil 2 Remake, the knife is the go-to weapon because it does crazy damage with high frame rate. It's a similar thing here for stuff like the axe, which you'll see here in Guest House as well. But so frame rate plays a pretty big part in this game. And we get to walk through the water after falling down that ladder. There are a lot of invisible walls here, so you see me take these corners a little wide. I'm actually taking them as close as I possibly can to the invisible wall. But if I try to turn too soon, I'll get stuck on them. Kind of like that right there. Try to best to avoid that. Now there's a scary part that's supposed to come up here where a dead body pops up out of the water. It's Clancy, I believe. Or Andre, actually. We avoid this by staring at the wall and strafing. We hear the bubbles pop up behind us, and we can just turn and run. It's very easy to get around. I'm grabbing the bolt cutters here. Then we find Mia, and this is where we get an unfortunate amount of downtime. This is everyone's least favorite part of the game, because we got probably about 5 minutes between now and the next time I actually get to do anything fun. Because we're going to be just walking behind Mia as she has a kind of a freak out the entire time. The game is in Japanese, by the way, for anyone wondering. It's the text is in English, but it's in Japanese. Japanese saves half a second because of a certain call later in the game. So another, probably the biggest thing about Resident Evil 7 is inventory management. You'll be seeing me moving my stuff around kind of randomly in between downtime parts. Like here, I'm positioning my cursor on the far right side of the bolt cutters here. We do that because we're going to pick up an item later that we have to quickly move over to use in the inventory. So you'll be seeing me do a bunch of inventory management after most fights and before most fights and all that fun stuff. But we're basically just going to be sitting here doing literally nothing behind Mia. This is so there's a meme category called No Guest House that I really wish wasn't just a meme category. I wish it was our main category, just so we could just not do this ever again. That's the downside about being on world record pace when you're like when I'm trying to grind for 127.47 and you have to sit through this every time. And there are parts in here in Guest House that after this little 10-minute jaunt, you can kill the run if you mess up, and then you just have to do it all over again, which is not exciting at all. This basement looks really old, but that's a really new water pump right there. So we'll have an interaction coming up probably in about a minute and a half here. after Mia squeezes through this and we follow her. After Guest House, the game kind of accelerates pretty dramatically, so it won't be like this for very much longer.
Do we have time for a couple donations?
Absolutely.
So first on the block, we've got $5 from Yasi Hop. Says, yo, Ezekiel, from the entire RE7 speedrun community, we wish you luck.
Thanks, Ozzy.
Then got a little bit one that's been sitting here on the docket for a minute. $20 from Tantrum 27X that says, sup, bud, don't get dead. That was probably for the last run. Whoopsie doodle. Sorry about that, Tantrum. And then $50 from Togni Dong Bong. That's eerily similar to the name of someone who smelled of liquor, or the name on the badge of someone who smelled like liquor here. However, they say cancer sucks. Greetings from Portugal. So they clearly got on a Learjet and flew to Portugal to give us that donation. Thank you for the $50.
Ooh, thanks for the 50. So a couple things happened there. Down in the basement, I was hugging a pillar. That's just an interaction where Mia has to get grabbed and pulled out of that room. You want to be as close to it as you can without being near it, or else it won't trigger. Up here, I ran down the hallway and stepped into the bathroom and stepped out for a second. That triggers Mia coming up these stairs, and this is where we are now. So Mia will jump on us to stab us. We're not going to resist. Waste time. We're going to push her away, and contrary to your first playthrough, we're going to run right at her. I recently discovered, and I'm not sure if it's true or not, but if I'm looking down at the bottom right when running at Mia there, it's faster for her to interact with me. Don't know why, but some things are weird like that. We're going to let her stab us, and then we're going to come to a part that I find specifically frustrating about the game is Mia's going to fall down, and we have to wake Mia up as soon as possible, but we have to do it a certain way. You can only be so close to Mia, and you can only be looking at her for a certain amount of time before she'll wake up. If you mess it up, it doesn't work at all, and you kind of have to reset your position. It's very frustrating if you miss it, especially when you're going for fast times, because it can end up costing you the run. So the way I do this is there's a little white mark here at the ground I'm going to stare at for about half a second, maybe actually more like 3 seconds. We're going to stare at this. And I'm going to inch forward very slightly after a couple seconds. There we go. I'm going to look at her leg and kind of spin my mouse around, and if I did this right, she should wake up. There we go. So she's going to toss us into this room, and we have our actual first combat. If I kill her in one hit or one cycle, that's ideal. That's really good, but it's not very likely. And we got the one cycle, okay. That one cycle saves about 1.5 seconds. Usually when you hit her once, she'll hit you right away, and then you kind of block it off, and then you hit her again, and then you start that little sequence. If you hit her with the axe in the right spot, with the good pull on your mouse, you'll get her in one cycle, which is what we just did, so that's pretty good. I backed up a little bit there because you can't be too close to this or it will not ring. Because that's how phones work. And we're coming up here on the second retry of the game. Just like the first one, this one increases my speed. Grab the axe. Now we're a bit faster. And I'm going to position myself to open up this cabinet to get the fuse. Hopefully I get this in the quick animation. Not bad. If you come at things at an angle, you'll do a walk-around animation, which you do not want to do. It loses actually a lot of time. You'll be seeing a lot of situations where I'm positioning weirdly, so I can avoid getting a long animation. Like standing directly in front of stuff. Drop the fuse in there. Mia spooks us. She kind of beats us up. And this is different from the original version of the game. So we get stabbed with a little pitchfork here in our wrist. In the North American version of the game, we get stabbed in the hand with a screwdriver. It's just a subtle difference, I guess. And one of the big things about Sarah D here, it doesn't really matter right here, but later in the game it'll matter. But it completely censors out dismemberment. So you'll see here, she'll cut us and the screen will go black. And we'll keep our arm. The funny thing about Sarah D and why this is kind of silly is they kind of did this lazily. You'll see the animations don't really make sense on the arm at all. They just kind of slap the textures back on. And we're coming up on Mia 2 here. Mia 2 is another boss fight here in the guest house. This is the last part of guest house. Ideally, we want to kill Mia in one hit. That is what you want. 2 hits is acceptable, but for like every hit, it's like another second. But ideally, if I do this right, we just want her dead in one hit. I just kind of line myself up to get this. Oh. Okay. 3 hits, not too bad. But that is guest house. And we can do some physics with Ragdoll here. Kind of bounces her around. Oh, no, she's stale now. Okay. But we're going to have a relatively, not long, but a couple minutes of a cutscene here. If there is any other donations, feel free. That's Jack. You'll learn to hate him. Now we're coming up on main house, where we get to meet the whole fam. This is when the game actually starts to take off. We start to see a bit more of the mechanics of the game. We'll see Jack RNG, which is not everyone's favorite thing. We'll see out of bounds. There's one out of bounds in this game. It saves about 8 to 9 seconds, but it's obviously mandatory for speedrunning purposes. But it has some weird elements to it that needed to be taken into account. You can soft lock the game from the out of bounds. You can completely ruin the out of bounds. There's a whole lot of things that can go wrong. The backup plan is just to do the game the normal way if you mess it up. But hopefully we don't have that problem. Okay. So this part's a little gross. We have Jack here in the center. Big Daddy. He's no fun. This is Marge. That's Lucas. It's Grandma. The gang's all here. Each of these guys have their own segments in the game, except for Lucas. He's in DLC, so we actually don't get to do much with him. Another instance of censorship. Knife went right through his arm, but he still has his arm. So after this dinner table here, so I can say this now, because I got time, I'll be running down the hallway that's on the other side of this wall. Jack's going to show up. So the sequence goes is that I want to grab a key, I want to trigger the door, and I want to run past Jack and get to the hatch that's in this room. However, this is Jack's really gruesome RNG. Running down the hallway, Jack will have one of 3 options he'll select. He'll either grab you instantly, which nothing you can do about it. He will lunge grab at you, which you can dodge, and he'll swing at you, which you can block. Those last 2 are obviously the ideal. There's a skip that comes up. It's a little hard to do consistently. It's called the wall skip. If I get it, you'll see it, and I can tell you what it is, but it's basically getting Jack to do some sequence breaking of where he's at. So he's going to walk through the door, and then we're going to mash out of the chair. Okay. Pop this door open. Now we'll see Jack show up here. Now, hopefully we don't get instant grab, but She's going to swing at us there after the instant grab. See if we get him to come down the hallway. He's kind of blocking our path. Oh, we got wall skip. So I'll trigger this. So what happens is Jack can swing at you a whole bunch on the other side of that wall. We really need him to not trigger. Okay. So what'll happen is Jack will hit you on the other side of the wall. If you can get around the wall fast enough and get to the trigger point of the wall break, if you turn around and run out the wall, Jack's AI or the game is programmed to, if you run down that hallway after getting through that sequence and Jack's not in sight, he's supposed to break out of that wall and scare you. We use this as a method to get to the hatch faster, which gives us this wall skip and saves us about 3 seconds. We open that door, trigger the phone, and answer it. This is also where we're going to get the New Game Plus items here in a second. And then we'll come up on another unskippable cutscene. It's a reoccurring theme in this game. You'll hear me mash really hard here. It's so I can pull things out really quickly. It's kind of important, strangely enough. So we get infinite ammo, buzzsaw, the Albert. We run in there to trigger this guy, so he starts knocking on the door, and then we start the cop sequence. Yeah, that's Jack Hallway, and he's a run killer for sure, but getting wall skip helps out a lot, though, so that's nice. Basically, the cop's here to tell us that people have been going missing, and we're sus, rightfully so. It's really not a whole lot to this conversation other than we do the weird thing. We ask him for his gun, he laughs at us and gives us a knife. But immediately after this, we're going to go into the garage and we're going to have the first Jack fight, which is Jack 1. Jack 1's relatively straightforward, but so this is one of the 2 soft locks in the game that I'm aware of, and this one is completely random. There's a chance that Jack will lock, and we're going to have him break a grate, and we need him to do that so he can get into a car, and we do the whole fight. There's a chance it just won't break. It's nicknamed the Nokia shelf because it just will not break. It just stands still, doesn't move. So we really want that to not happen, but we can get around it if it does. Okay.
Do we have a moment for a quick donation?
Yep, go ahead.
We've got $5 from Wade, who says, "Hey Cap, got stuck at Denny's. Be there soon. Love, Wade."
Thanks, Wade.
And I'm going to have to give him a talking to, considering the Nicolette Diner is like 2 blocks away and destroys Denny's in every way imaginable.
Okay, so the cop is going to die here, unfortunately. Rip. He's supposed to get his head cut off, but because we're playing the censored version of the game, his head will not get cut off. But then we start the fight with Jack. So what I'm going to do is saw Jack, and we'll do some precise shots, and if we do it right, Jack will die pretty quickly. We got fast Jack animation there. That's actually really good. Okay, he breaks that grate. We shoot him once. He'll start breaking into the car. We do some inventory management. If I hit this shot, he should die instantly. There we go. Jack 1. Okay, so I'm going to position myself to avoid the knockback. He's going to step out of the car, and we're just going to pop him in the leg a couple times so he doesn't come up and grab us. You'll see me block. That cancels the reload animation. Jack falls down, so what we're going to be doing is grabbing a gun and triggering the next cutscene quickly, hopefully, before we move out of the main part of the house. There we go. Don't do it. A little gruesome, I know. So we're going to grab the Ox statuette here. Flip it around really quickly just to hit the interaction. It's usually pretty quick. stuck there. So we're going to leave the gun with, so there's two different types of ammo. There's enhanced ammo and then there's unenhanced ammo. We're going to stick with using unenhanced ammo for this next part of the game to trigger the out of bounds, which is this cycle that's coming up now. You want to do this because we have to shoot Jack a few times, but Jack cannot die. If Jack dies, the out of bounds fails, and then we'll need to do the game regularly. And that's just no fun. Got to grab a few key items to make it happen. All right, just gonna pop this door open, and then we're gonna strafe to close it. And I missed the close. Feels bad. No, I got it. I just couldn't hear it. All right, so this is the out of bounds cycle. I'm gonna try and focus on this shot so I don't miss it. The shot's very important just to make sure we get Jack to do the right animations. Hopefully this all goes right, and if it does, we'll get pushed out of bounds. Okay, Jack didn't drop early, so that's good. You see he fell down now. I'm shooting to get his attention because Jack follows the sound of the shots. Shoot him once to get him to light stagger. And I'll be cutting this close. Nice. So we're going to be able to get the shadow puzzle activated. You need to do this or the game will soft lock after the out of bounds. Now, this is where we actually do the out of bounds. We need Jack to bust out of the door, and we're going to kind of manipulate the way we do this here. I'm running at Jack there just to get his attention. Pull him up the stairs. Pop him in the leg to bring him down. Now I'm going to switch to 30 frames so I can squeeze by him faster. I'm going to switch. No, do not do that. I'm going to position right here. And we're out of bounds. Reload all the guns. So we're taking a path around the house out of bounds. So you can see a whole bunch of fancy stuff in the house. We're going to break back in here in a second. So we have to be at 60 FPS for this to work. Nope, not 30. Or else we will get suspended in air. Drop through here. Now we're a few steps ahead of the game. Now, we still had to activate the shadow puzzle because Resident Evil 7 and even 2, they really hate it when you skip stuff in the game. So they will soft lock you if you don't trigger certain things. So we got the red key card. We're not supposed to get that until much later. Shoot this guy. Handprint. Did that last one. Get this key here. So now we're coming up on Jack 2. Now, Jack 2 does have a nasty bit of RNG to it at the very start. Jack can instant grab you, in which case you'll miss the one cycle, which loses about 3 to 4 seconds. So you don't want that to happen. Kill this guy. If you can avoid that happening, you'll usually get the fight pretty easily. So what we want to happen in this fight is we'll get thrown down. We want to shoot Jack instantly without him grabbing us. We'll saw him. We'll do kind of that same thing again, and then the fight will be over pretty quickly if we do it right. So let's hope RNG's on our side. Ideally, I could strafe left or right to avoid getting grabbed, but for speed purposes, because we got to go fast, we're going to stand right in front of him. Didn't insta-grab. We're going to saw him, push him at the grate so he turns around instantly. Organize the inventory here. Grab this guy, now this shot. Yeah. A little early on that first one. Saw him, and that's Jack 2. Now, on the uncensored version of the game, that fight takes about 15 seconds or 13 seconds longer because Jack will like split in half and his bottom half of his body will try to walk around for spooky purposes, but we can avoid that with the censored version of the game. Just going to do a little bit of running here, so if there's a donation, you can feel free to read it. We're going to be grabbing the Scorpion key here. Taking this little shortcut out. Some quick inventorying there to get the dog heads put in. Now we're out of main house and we're moving on to the old house, which is the Marge section of the game. We're gonna run in and run out, trigger the phone, and we get another phone call from Zoe.
俺に頼みってなんだ。それをやれば出られるのか。そう、よく聞いてね、リーさん。私たち家族は体を怪我されてるんだ。この汚れを取らない限りここからは出られない。ミアも同じだよ。治す方法があるのか。血清がいるの。血清さえあれば元の体に戻れる。手遅れじゃなければだけど。分かった。どこにあるんだ。それが分かれば私だってとっくに逃げてるよ。でも母さんがきっと休館の中のどこかに隠してるはずなんだ。血清が手に入ればミアを治して帰れるんだな。ああ、そういうことだね。休館は沼のそばだからすぐ見つかるよ。分かった。でも母さんもそこにいると思う。母さん。気をつけて。みんなあんたを探してる。
Okay, so we're just gonna spin around and get out of the camper now. All right.
Huh? I can hear myself. We're good.
Oh, hey, welcome, Wade.
Yo, it took me long enough, right?
Kind of missed that first shot there.
All right, everybody, we're about to see some hot spider puzzle action, but first, we get to ditch our wife as she screams for help, and then we get to apparently saw spiders off a door without damaging the door for some reason.
Sounds about right. We're gonna be switching to 30 frames again here in a second. This was a 1 second time save recently discovered, like a month or two ago. We can just do this real quickly and the door opens.
Hot.
All right. Took some damage from the bugs. That wasn't very good. So we'll hopefully get this shadow puzzle pretty quickly in one quick rotation. Oh. There you go.
There, now I'm in frame. Well, kind of.
All right. So we just have to grab a couple key items here from this part of Old House. We're looking to grab Crank, Crow Key. I think those are the only two. And then we'll be having March fights, and then we'll have one of the, probably the hardest skip in the actual game, which is probably the second hardest, which is Lantern Skip.
But Captain, what about the Magnum?
It pales to the Albert, man. Come on.
Actually, it does more than the Albert does.
It's so hard to get.
But it's routed. 2 people do it. Actually, I think he stopped.
Kill that guy. So you'll actually rarely ever see me strafe in this game. I normally do all my turning with mouse because it's faster. But everyone, including the world record holder, mostly strafes because it's a little bit more optimized in terms of not bumping into walls. But I'm a little bit of a rebel. I'll strafe sometimes because you have to. So we're going to hopefully avoid Marge here. Okay, we avoided her.
Let me know when it's a good time for comments, even though I should probably know this by now.
You go right ahead. I just got to grab something right here.
Cool. First off, hi Yossi. I see that you said no. Anyway, we got a $5 donation from Shadowist that says, I promised I'd donate if I had a good sewers run. Good luck, Captain, with Resident Evil 7. Heart. Chuck a Kirby at him. It's like already up there though. You gotta like snipe them. It's like 1-inch headshot. Come on now. All right.
All right, so we're coming up on Marge 1.
Man, I remember doing this with like 30 plushies thrown at me per fight. That was fun.
All right, hopefully we kill Marge in 4 shots. Assuming I do everything right. Yeah, she's dead. She's kind of a pushover.
Kind of.
Though if you do mess that up, though, she like backs up and you actually can't shoot her anymore. So you're actually just stuck down there until she decides to walk back up. So she's kind of a pushover, but if you mess it up, your run's dead. To back up a bit, we have to just trigger this, answer the phone. So after this quick phone call here, we're going to have the lantern skip. Now, originally after this phone call, you would need to run up the stairs, look at the empty lantern slot. The game would realize, oh, now you have to go kill Marge. You'll run down, you'll see her in this pit, and then you wait for a long animation to play, and then you jump down. What we're going to do is we're actually just going to run out of this door. We're going to look up at the ceiling, trigger the lantern upstairs, and then we're going to turn. And if we do it correctly, we can jump at a certain angle, at a certain speed, and we will be able to skip all those animations and just land down there with her. It's a really good time save, so I hope we hit it.
Oh, hey, I'm in view of the camera now. Wow.
Yep, got it.
That's true. That Mountain Dew is the more important thing. Everyone knows that. Ew, shoot it. Burn it with holy fire. Ah, that crotch looks gross.
Yes, it is. It's actually so disgusting.
Playing it in VR is probably one of the grossest experiences ever. Especially this fight. Like, all the other things that they do to, like, immerse you it's cute and all. It's like all the VR standard stuff. They make sure that when they stab you in the throat earlier in the game, it's like right where your neck should be or whatever. Like when they feed you, it hits your mouth. But this part right here is just the grossest when you're playing in VR.
All right. And what he's talking about here is we have the Marge 2 fight. We're going to make her bust through the window and shoot her 3 times with the Albert and then 10 times with the G17. Uh-oh.
One shot.
So we missed 1 shot. We're going to force her to spawn down here. I should still be able to get the 1 cycle. She's going to jump. Saw at the egg sack. Got her. So that's March 2. Even missing that shot, it's good to get that. Organize the inventory a bit.
So the reason that Ezekiel knew where Marge would spawn is because Marge spawns at the nearest spawn to you that isn't the one that you're looking at as soon as you look at one. Something like that, I think,
Yep.
right? Yeah.
No, that's right. And that's why when I ran by, I looked at the ceiling. It's just to force her to spawn on the ground there. You can do a fast Marge when she spawns in the ceiling. The only person I've seen do it successfully is Nyx.
Yep.
And that man's crazy. He plays on PC with a controller. Don't even worry about that guy.
This is my man. Ever since like the days that I joined, it's always just been commenting on how he's doing knife only all the time.
He's if you haven't heard of it, if you've watched Resident Evil speedruns, Nyx has probably done something in whatever you've watched. He currently runs a lot of Resident Evil 2 hardcore knife only and not a hero professional knife only. He's a madman. He's super fun to watch. He helps. He runs this category too sometimes, but on a controller, this category becomes a nightmare, just because of the turns and the angles and the skips and guest house. Everything just becomes a big problem. But he's cool. So we're popping open this door now that we got the lantern. This part of the game was meant to be very scary, but we're actually just gonna run through everything.
Including like the one right here. Yeah.
The squeakies that fall behind you. And we got the dark theme where EB tells us to go away. We're not going to do that. Weirdly enough. I personally would.
Yeah. But we have to see this door right here.
Then we grab the D-Series arm.
I'm still not sure as to whose body this is supposed to be, considering it's definitely not Evelyn.
Yeah. It's a great question, actually. It's probably explained somewhere in all the notes that I didn't read in this game.
Hey, we should ask ZGL. He'd probably know.
Probably. So it comes up here on the next retry of the game. Similar fashion makes me faster. One tap this guy, maybe. Just kidding.
All right. Hey, while you're escaping, mind if I read a thing quick?
You do you, man.
Cool. All right, and we got a $10 donation from Mar, or is Marforia's full name here. So, good luck, have fun, Ezekiel. Shouts to the coolest RE speed game. Big smiley face.
I agree. If we could just get rid of guest house, though, that'd be fine. All right, so there's a full net ring back there. We don't need it. We can just run her out and get out of the old house. So that was the end of old house. It was usually pretty straightforward, nothing too crazy about it. The only big spooky part about it is getting the lantern skip and getting a fast march. But if you do those, you pretty much have it on lock.
And don't grab the flamethrower.
Do not grab the flamethrower. It's a waste of time.
Biggest waste ever.
We're supposed to answer a phone call here in a second.
We're not.
And love tap the camper, and we're all good.
So now, you did the clip earlier, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so that key card he grabbed earlier, he needs that now. What he did as a result of doing that is now he doesn't have to double dip into the basement in this section. Instead, he can dip once, grab this key he's about to grab, and then not have to dip back down here again after grabbing that key. Instead, he did that earlier when it was more convenient.
Yep. And another skip coming up here in the benefit of Sarah D, which is another big time save we get from it, is that on the regular version of the game, when you grab the snake key, you have to grab it from the cop's throat. This time, it's actually just going to be laying right next to him. And we have God mode here in a second. Switch my frames to 30, PC privilege, and scoot right by him.
Yeah.
It's pretty nice.
Lucas is probably my favorite antagonist in RE after Wesker.
Absolutely. Lucas is really cool.
Especially when he like super secretly actually isn't possessed like everyone else in the family because he got a vaccine from Umbrella like a month early.
I know he's was it Umbrella or was it the Connections? Because I can't remember. I know that Mia's with the Connections, and that's who he's sending the information to. TLDR, they're all bad people, but...
Yeah. I think Mia was the Connections.
Okay, so now, even though we got the key card already, and I did the shadow puzzle, we have to go upstairs and trigger the clock, or else the game will soft lock at Lucas.
There's a lot of flags that even though we've had people look through all the different things you can do with out of bounds, you can't like just go straight into the barn with the Jack 2 kite, because if you do, just nothing will be there. And the game won't even progress, it just locks. And that is one of those flags, is doing that clock puzzle. You don't have to go downstairs, but that is one of the flags. So now we get to do PC players' favorite puzzle, right?
This puzzle is a nightmare for a lot of people because it's so specific. It's very dependent on how accurate you get it.
This is where controller has an advantage. In fact, I think this is one of the only spots controller has a major advantage. So
We got it pretty cleanly, though.
Yeah, that was probably one of the fastest times I've seen that. Considering normally if you're high sensitivity on the mouse there, then it just flickers all over the place.
Yeah, and you could be a couple pixels off and it'll not work.
Oh, yeah.
And it buffers. Anytime you mess up a shadow puzzle, it pauses for like a second. It's definitely not fun.
Yeah.
So we're coming up now to Lucas, the party room.
Got the 2 key cards you're gonna need to join the party we're having over here. Then, did we ever confirm that the TV skip is 100% fake, or are we still hunting for that?
I pray for it every day.
Pray for it every day, yeah. So, was it a Chinese video or a Japanese video? I can't remember.
I think it was Japanese.
Yeah, so there was a Japanese YouTube video like a year and a half ago that was posted of this cutscene up here. As far as we know, the video wasn't edited, I think.
Yeah, it was from a live stream.
Yeah, so what happened here is they sat down, turned on the TV. As soon as it turned on, it just exploded after Lucas was about to utter something. It's like right here, this cutscene would just be over all of a sudden. TV would blow up, you just keep going. So this is the last cutscene that we're really looking for skipping here.
Yeah, it's I'm pretty sure if you got that, your run would be DQ'd from world record anyways, because that's too crazy.
Oh yeah. You'd get a separate category like all the RE2 categories there are. Actually, you need 9,000 frames per second. And then when you have the 9,001 frame that just kind of flickers, all of a sudden TV skips. Completely accurate. Also, I don't know how that's just the head, because there's definitely arms on that.
Yeah, and a body.
Yeah, but that's just the head for the vaccine. I don't understand why Zoe just didn't need that for the serum.
Yeah. So, yeah, I know, unless you're reading the subtitles, you're not understanding Lucas. But basically what he's saying here is come get this thing. Look at how well I do my nails.
Well, the other point is he has an arm, because in the English version, his arm gets cut off completely. But because this is the ever so fun censored Japanese version, no limbs or heads are lost.
It's pretty nice.
Yeah, so instead he's just showing how cool he can rip off his fingernails.
But after this is kind of something I'll focus on. I might not say anything because there's a bunch of bomb shots I have to hit, and some of them are in really close quarters. If I miss one, I can get hit by it. I'll have to block it. So it's kind of like a little gauntlet.
You're not doing the guard strat to walk through?
Nope, I shoot everything. I block the last ones going into the door, but everything else gets shot.
And you have secrets and essence in? I wasn't here for that.
Wait, what was that?
Do you have secrets and essence, or neither?
Nope, neither.
Okay, yeah.
We don't take those items here.
Yeah, so if any of you have ever seen the Saw movies, it's kind of what this little segment is reminiscent of. Lucas definitely watched the entire 8-movie series. Saw movies. Oh yeah, good one. Sorry, yeah, I didn't hear that. Yeah, 2 good ones though. Yeah.
Okay, those are all the shootable bombs. Now we have to just block this last one.
Oh yeah, probably yeah. That's what you were saying. Yeah. Actually,
That was a
does it even
frame
have,
perfect
like,
block, I'm
spots?
pretty sure. So that was the bomb gauntlet. So we got through that pretty easily.
So actually, don't try looking this up now. My old school district is one of the numbers he says. The school district number. It blew my mind first thing that happened.
I'm going to go ahead and guess it's 612.
You're so close. That's definitely not what the number he even said was.
So we have to drop items back into the thing here.
Notably, everything that you can't just discard from it being New Game Plus.
We have another retry here.
Is that a dog head?
Another PC exclusive. Yeah, another tight bomb shot here I need to hit.
Yeah, this one's probably the scariest of all of them. Got it.
There we go.
And these molded try way too hard.
Oh, yeah. So now we're coming up on Lucas's fight, which is actually probably the biggest cakewalk in the whole game.
Oh yeah.
Other than the very last boss.
Yeah, last boss is definitely the easiest. But yeah, so the barn fight. This is where we realize, hey, you can shoot through the elevator. Or like the tiny little windows. So you need to get the battery, put the battery in the thingy, you know, turn on things, and then the real party begins. Actually, the real party's coming up in a bit, so. It's like right here. So what he's doing right now is he's just blamming all these shots at the that moment right now. So that as soon as the gate opens, he'll just deal the last few shots and then get the dead.
Oh, jeez.
Oops.
There's no actual time loss here, because this is all on a set timer.
Yeah.
So had I hit that shot and killed him earlier, this still wouldn't have been activated until just now. So because I have all these New Game Plus items, I can just delete them to discard them from my inventory. We need to do that because Lucas will not let us into the party room if we have them on us.
Even if we're wearing shoes, he's just super against wearing shoes, man.
So I've been practicing it lately. In my PB, I don't have a very good one, but there is this keypad up here to enter the code, which is 1408. You can do it by pressing the keys at the same time. You can do diagonals. which saves you actually a lot of time to hit the keys in quick succession. So like you can quickly go from 1-4-0-8 using diagonal presses. It's a little hard actually because it's kind of some finicky button pressing. So let's see if I can do that.
Do it.
I got the 8, but I couldn't get the last 2.
All right, here's the real party, everybody. Because normally we're supposed to pick up a VHS tape a little bit ago before that barn fight. And we're supposed to see our favorite cameraman Clancy well, he succeeded at the puzzle, but the puzzle was rigged. And this is probably the biggest reason that it's more of a Saw reference than anything else right here.
Oh yeah, this kind of this cutie.
So this clown, normally what you'd probably do on your first try if you didn't actually like watch a videotape is you'd be like, hey, there's a wind-up key inside that barrel, so you pull the key out. The second you pull that key out, you lose because you just dripped a bunch of oil on the floor. You put the key in the clown, and then you have to solve a puzzle, which is that from another tape, or I don't remember.
No, it's all from the same tape.
All right, and then after you solve that, then you get the fountain pen. Then you put the fountain pen in the clown's hand, and the clown just stabs your arm and writes loser into it. Now, each of these you press in either direction 5 times to get to the word loser. And then once you get loser, you open the lock. Clancy, unfortunately, got set ablaze. Rip. Best cameraman.
Pour one out for Clancy.
Yes. So now, just gotta have the candle extinguished, pop that valve in, because it's always a valve for Resident Evil of some form. Valve or a crank. You just gotta light the candle and put it on the cake. I don't know why he didn't just try covering the candle earlier with his hand, you know, but...
I thought about that more times than I care to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
The logic in this game is flawed, you might guess.
I think I posted the song in the Discord like a couple years ago, just like every time someone had a birthday. It's like, this is the good song. So now we just get to chuck a pipe bomb through a wall, and for some reason we don't die from the explosion here.
We get to stand nice and snug.
Yeah.
It won't hit us right here.
And it doesn't matter what the timer is of the pipe bomb before you put it in, you just gotta put it through. I believe it's the same amount of time once you put it in.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Back in Dust's old world record, he just held on to the bomb until like the very end.
Yeah.
So we're going back into the item box here to get some items, and then we'll be coming up on Jack 3. Jack 3 has a 1 cycle that you really want to hit. He's a little difficult, but he's not crazy hard.
And the best purity line in American English. Too bad I'm listening to the Japanese audio, so you don't get to hear all the voice cracks.
Jack 3 will also be a situation where I probably won't talk until I finish it.
Yeah.
That's what we have Wade here for.
Yeah. Hey, how many times have you forgotten to grab the crank?
Worse, I once, so before I started to organize my inventory, when I started to get really good runs, I put the arm in last and forgot about it, and then I get all the way to Zoe, and she'd be like, grab the 2 ingredients, and I'm just standing there waiting for her to do the next animation.
Oh, I've done that too, yeah.
I'm like, I have it, what are you talking about?
At least they put an item box like right downstairs there, though.
Oh yeah, it's pretty nice.
Oh yeah, but yeah, forgetting the crank right here, you just gotta walk all the way back since you're like, what am I supposed to have here?
Having the crank be the last item is dangerous, but thankfully I haven't had that problem. Just gonna ignore this guy.
Yeah.
Deuces.
I think you only really need to shoot like one of the moldeds, and it's the one that comes up right here in a second.
Yeah, the crawler here we have to kill, but he has dumb iframes that makes it really hard sometimes. Let me have
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, and then this dude is literally just a push around, or not.
It's easy just to time in the head because he actually dies really quickly. There are some situations where he just won't spawn, and it's just like, all right, cool.
Lit. Also, a completely optional thing that does not affect the ending whatsoever. You can just choose not to talk to Mia here.
Yeah.
It doesn't affect the ending at all.
I actually just never talk. I didn't actually realize that was a thing until very recently.
Yeah, I didn't know that was a thing until at least my like 9th run through the game. I was like, oh, wait a minute. I don't even have to talk to her. She just says stuff like she sounds crazy.
So I'm going to move my walking shoes to be the last item in my inventory so they're easier to get out when we start the latter half of the game. Latter part, really. I wouldn't say half.
I mean,
basically half.
yeah, feels like it half the time.
Okay, now we have Jack 3 here.
My favorite boss fight ever.
Very precise shot at the very start of the fight. That's very annoying.
Right here, this line, he has a huge voice crack in the English version. Back to the house. I will deal with you later. It's about how it actually sounds, by the way.
Yeah, it's pretty accurate.
Man, if only he had that grenade launcher with the neuro rounds, right? Madhouse strats. So what he's got to do for this fight is he's got to blow up all the eyes on Jack's body because for some reason he took that phrase "an eye in the back of your head" a little too literally. So what you gotta do is you gotta saw the eyes that are nearby, shoot the ones that are far away, and you have to remember that there's like 3 on the bottom of them or something. Occasionally I forget about an arm. Just like last second there would be like one arm I didn't actually blow off. Yeah. Alright, then you'll know that you did it right because he'll just start pouting and he'll just start digging into the ground.
Yeah, that was actually probably the fastest Jack 3 I've ever done.
But it's not totally done yet, just mostly done. And magically you just clip exactly to where the door is, no matter where you are. Yeah, so that was almost all of Jack 3. I mean, that was all like the real damage we did deal so far.
Yeah, that was actually a really clean Jack 3. I didn't miss a single eye shot and everything was pretty fast, so that was surprisingly good. So he's gonna grab us here in a sec. And we just spam F to pay our respects.
Yup. We save him though, kind of.
Kind of.
A little bit.
Spoiler alert, he's not actually even dead here either.
Yeah. Actually, I was always confused if that was like a death or if that was just like a hot dream.
Right.
Up. I had never really... I'm sure ZGL knows.
Probably.
Oh yeah.
So now, as much as we all would love to, we could just, so we get a choice to save Mia or Zoe here with the last thing we have. Also, there's just a side note. Imagine you're Zoe, you help create 2 toxins to save your life, like antitoxin, and then this guy uses one of them and then uses the other one on his wife. That's some messed up stuff.
Yeah, she gets gypped here.
She really does. We all want to save her because she's actually next level. She's sick. We don't want to save Mia. Mia's actually bad people, but we have to because it's faster. A minute to be exact. I found that out when I raced horror like a couple days ago.
I was really upset. Very first time I logged into Arena, it turns out like I never had it sync before on PS4, and so it said the first girl I picked was Zoe because that was the very first time I picked a girl and then it synced.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I mean, best girl picked at least, right?
Absolutely. If you pick Zoe here, a couple things happen. Is one, you get the non-canon ending, and this boat ride takes forever.
Yeah.
And then you also have to fight Mia as the 3rd boss. You get Mia 3.
Yeah, which is arguably faster than the other 2. She doesn't even try anymore.
Yeah, you just hit her a couple times, then you stab her with the crowbar.
Yeah. So Zoe just straight up dies, like right here.
Sort of. Actually, she doesn't die here.
No. If you pick her, I mean.
Oh yeah, if you pick her, she dies.
Yeah, if you pick her, she's just like, you know, you get like a little thing where all of a sudden she crumbles into dust, just like Jack did a few moments ago, because Evie's like, hey, didn't see Leaf. Then she's like, but no, and then she kind of dies. And then Mia's like, you picked her over me? Wait, what did she do? Like, I was gone for like a month and a half, 3, I don't even remember, I'm sorry.
3 years.
I was gone for 3 years. So it was probably like 2 days though, okay, you know, you exaggerate all the time, Ethan. And then, she just gets mad and then she remembers that. It's like one of those Telltale games. Mia will remember that. And it changes like the last cutscene with her by a bit, and it's very subtle, but you notice that if you pick Zoe, she doesn't push you through the door. She just tells you to leave.
You back up, and you don't actually leave.
Took me a hot minute to realize there was a crowbar behind the pipe. When I first did this, I was just like kiting her around. I was like, what do I do?
If there's any donations, you can feel free to read it. You got a minute here.
Is there any? Yeah, oh, yeah, you give me. I have like the entire first section of the boat. Yeah, there aren't any. Get those donations in. This is where we're like, hey, what's going on? Mia, why is there a boat? Ethan, hey, remember that email I sent you? Yeah, this is the same boat. And then you drown. Whoops. stuff happens. Game over.
Feels bad.
Yeah.
So now we get to play as Mia. Now Mia has the hardest skip in the game, debatably. I think it is the double D skip, the Allen 2 skip or the Dustin distortion skip, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But it's a very annoying skip because it involves hurting yourself with a bomb, and if you mess it up, it can be really tragic.
Yeah, what was the one race I actually ended up being able to commentate for during the tournament? That was when it was like really bad right there. I think it was for smoke.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there were quite a few deaths right there, like the very end. I felt so bad. So right here, if you didn't realize you were playing as Mia before, you sure figured out now. And we still never see Ethan's face during this whole thing.
All right, so Mia is by far my worst part of my runs.
You can do it.
It's actually way more relaxed than the rest of the game, but my PB is tied with world record up until the end of Jack, and then I lose about 7 or 8 seconds here. But we're going to do another 30-frame swap. We're not sure if this really saves time yet, but I trust Horror's opinion on it. Kind of squeeze through that door faster.
Yeah.
There's going to be a couple frame rate manipulations here, retries, fights. Everything that's important, though, skip-wise, comes from the Mia videotape, which is what we're on our way to start now.
Man, I don't even have the privilege of changing my frames. I'm on console.
Yeah, console has it rough, man.
At least we get 0D easier than PS4.
Yeah, we had to pay to win, man.
Yeah, but then again, PS4 actually has a disc you can get on Amazon. That's like readily available. Actually, ZGL is the one who posted on the Amazon page. You can check this, it's true. For 0D for Resident Evil 7, it just has ZGL like having like 2 Q&A things on there.
All right, so we're just gonna walk up to this little helmet and trigger this cutscene.
This is Walking Simulator 2017 or whenever it was it came out. There's nothing to do until everyone like screams at you. One fun thing that like a lot of people don't see at first is a staircase coming up here where like if you hold forward, you know, you keep moving at like a decent speed. But if you wait to hold forward till like after the cutscene starts, you barely even move up the stairwell. And like it really does save time just by holding W to speedrun, you know.
So one thing I was able to, so when I jumped down that hole just now, I kind of fell really fast. There's two different types of falling in this game. Well, I got to retry here. There's just a normal fall, which is really slow. You fall down from a height and you land. Then there's fast falling, or yeah, just a fast fall is what they really call it, where you can drop at certain angles in some places and you'll fall really quickly. Up there at that little hatch, I ran up on the edge a bit. That I found this out from Horror. He's the one that made it consistent, but you can just drop instantly as opposed to like going through like a little bit of animation that saves time. So
the walking shoes help here, right? I thought.
We don't have walking shoes.
Oh, never mind. JK. Totally wasn't thinking.
I want to see if someone can find a skip for this because this kills me every time.
Yeah, no, holding W is honestly the only real skip because then you don't have to wait. Because if you let go of W at like any point, it's either you can't hit it again until after the cutscene's over, or it's just like a lot slower.
It becomes crazy slow.
Yeah.
It gets like full stop and you have to start up again.
Yeah.
So we have a potential fast drop here. I might be able to get if I'm lucky. I haven't been able to get it. I've been missing it a lot. Where we turn on this body here and I'll fall really quickly to the ground.
I'm waiting till we optimize quick turns.
Oh. I mean, Nix is working on it.
I plan to eventually do another VR run, but with full speed, because you can do that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I actually did not even realize you can do full walking speed in VR.
All right, so we're gonna grab this fuse. Hopefully, don't get cheap shot.
This would be another sick thing, is if we could magically grab this fuse after we place it. That would also save a lot of time. I don't think it'll ever happen though.
All right, we're starting up, coming up here on starting the Mia tape, which is where all the big time saves are and all the actual combat.
It's also where console takes a year to load.
Yes, the loading here is pretty bad.
Because there's 2 different loading screens for the VHS tape, and like you'll know you're on the one where the video's about to start because it'll completely change the date and time. You're like, so right here you see like a 121:44. Yeah, so now it's 847 instead of that. And it takes forever for it to change there. Oh, wow, it changed again. Okay, then. Like on console, you're waiting like a long time for that to change usually.
And we got everyone's favorite character. It's his fault.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
It's all his fault. This whole game could have just been avoided if this guy just didn't exist.
Or just if he did his job right.
True. He's functionally a terrorist, so we actually don't want him doing his job right.
I guess. Yeah, how many times have you used the corrosive fluid on the wrong thing?
Never. But when I first started running this game, I used to go get like the big stack of them in that puzzle room.
Yeah.
Someone's like, you don't need to do that. All right, so this cutscene ends here shortly. So we're going to start off with me grabbing items out of the item box and then doing the Alan 1 skip, which is just, the shoes make it pretty easy.
Yeah. Because we're New Game Plus, we actually get to grab, infinite ammo for starters. And the walking shoes.
So we start with just grabbing walking shoes, so we'll be going back to that here in a second. So the idea of this is to get in and get out as fast as possible before the Allen call triggers. In and out, Allen skip, done. So that skip is important. If you miss that skip, you lose like 14 or 15 seconds. It's actually disgusting. We're going to trigger the elevator. We'll go grab the rest of the items. We're coming up on the next potential skip here, which is fast mold to death. We have to kill a molded in this elevator, and we want to make sure he dies with the earliest animation possible, because the elevator will not move until he's dead.
Or if he just gets out, but it's easier to kill him. I think the SMG actually just straight up pushes him out.
Nope, we got half death there, so you have to. Oops, let me fix that. Okay. So organize my inventory here as we're coming up on the double D skip.
You need bombs in one of the 4 quick equip slots.
What was that?
You need bombs in one of the slots. That's
Yep.
why you did that.
So that's why I moved my inventory around a bit. Quick shot of that guy because I'm sick. And we'll go ahead and move through. So we pick up the bombs here. This guy dies in 2 shots. Okay, so I need to place this bomb correctly while I'm still... That's crazy. That might be too close, I'm not sure, but we will find out.
I'm sure you'll be fine. World record this run, right?
Grab one of these corrosives here. So you don't want to... I don't want to press R, obviously. Pressing R will kill the bomb, and we don't want to do that. I'm going to need that. Evie kind of talks to us. We're just going to run around this pillar for a half second and then run back around.
Saves lots of time.
The skip is pretty important. If I fail it, I'll still get the half version of it, which is fine. But you don't want to fail it because you take a lot of damage. So this call starts, and you cannot go through these doors. But they discovered that if you blow yourself through the door... Nice. Alright, and pull out the gun here. I'm going to strafe this corner to hit these shots. That skip is so dangerous because if you put that bomb too close or too far, one of the bomb will explode if it's too far and you won't get moved at all, which you just lose the raw, like 17 seconds of time. You put it too close, you can knock yourself down. And cheap shot. You'll knock yourself down, you'll take a lot of damage. And if that had happened and I just ate that cheap shot right now, I would be in critical, and I would lose a crazy amount of time. But yeah, so that was that skip, which is pretty nice to get. And now we're going to be wrapping up this part of the boat. Hit that button. Spamming F to open this door. You'll see me just spam F at a bunch of locations. I like to pay my respects and also get stuff open really quickly. Got a quick kill on a molded here if I can hit this shot. Go up these stairs. Now, the idea of the tape was to show you where everything was so you can memorize it on Mia non-tape so you could complete it. But we know where everything is, so we actually don't need to go touch anything. Pop this open, and oh, rest in pieces. This is the end of Alan.
Not good to swear. He dies because he sweared on stream.
Let that be a lesson.
At an 11-year-old.
If there's donations at all, you can read them.
Yeah, are there any? Let's find out. Not yet. Get them donations in. Do it. We believe in you. Oh, so Yasi, I apologize for that at everyone ping I did a bit ago. Yeah, it was like a half hour ago.
Oh, I might as well do just a quick shout out here. So Resident Evil 7's been getting a lot more attention recently due to a tournament that's popped up. Speedrunners Arena does speedrunning tournaments for various games, and Resident Evil 7 was recently selected for the New Game Plus 70% category for both console and PC. So there's been a lot more attention brought to the game, and we've gotten a lot more people running it now. So the big thank you to that to Yasi, as they've been piloting the whole thing basically themselves with organizing everything and setting up matches. So that's been a big engine that's just been going this whole time and getting a lot of attention to the game. So I just wanted to quickly shout it out because you reminded me when you said Yasi. I was like, oh yeah.
Remember when Yasi was Rossi too?
Yeah, I got very confused.
Oh, there were 3 of them. Who was the third one? It was ZGL. I want to say it was ZGL. They all had the same profile pictures, but they were different colored backgrounds.
Okay, so I'm going to drop this. This skip only saves like half a second, but I'm going to bump myself forward to end Mia tape.
And the first skippable cutscene too.
I missed the bomb. That doesn't actually matter. Finally, a simple cutscene.
1 of 2 in the entire run, and 1's not even till the run's over. So that was it.
That was Mia tape.
Whew.
That was, other than the molded death in the elevator, that was actually a pretty good Mia tape. That was the same as my PB, I think, so that's pretty good.
Whew. Yeah, this next section's not too terrible, but man, oh man, on Madhouse, it's a nightmare.
Oh, yeah.
Just because of the wire. Until you get like the right pattern for where they get stuck on a corner.
Okay, so now what we're going to be doing here as Mia is we'll be grabbing a few items to open some things, like a lug wrench coming up here shortly. The idea is we need to get a power cable and a fuse to operate the elevator, and then we end the Mia part of the game. There's a lot of things that stand in our way. There's one skip, the God Door. The God Door is a 1-second time save that is usually, I think, easier on PC, as most things are, where we'll interact with the door and we just get out of the door before it closes. It's a weird time save, but it matters. So we'll be going wrapping around here to grab the lug wrench.
Yeah, so I have tried and tried over and over and over again. You can start the animation, but it pauses it, and then you can't even, you have to re-access it right here.
So that's going to open. Just going to kind of push up against it so I fall down while facing the exit.
Yeah.
Jump up. We're going to grab this knife here and hope we get God Door.
Alright, so now we're going to go get all the important things like the corrosive.
And we got God Door. Cool. So 1 whole second. Get that remote bomb. I'm going to grab the fuse here as well. Now, it never happens for me, but this crawler down here can jump away from you and let you run by him pretty easily. But it never happens for me. Jump. Nope. Not quite. We get another chance at that later. So let's hope.
Yeah, so that fuse is why I wish that you could grab it on your way in, but haven't gotten away yet. Alright, now for it's the 2nd floor, right?
I think it's, yeah, 3rd floor.
Third floor, my
Getting
bad.
the power cable here.
Yeah.
Now, this is the one instance in the game where an animation can't be interrupted by this guy because he dashes right through you. So we're going to start this animation. and then he's going to jump past us and not actually hit us. If you do that any later, he will hit you out of the animation, and it is a big buzzkill.
Yeah.
The start of the animation is what makes you dodge that, so it's pretty nice.
Yeah, right here is where you're just casually getting a wire, no big deal, or group of wires, I suppose. But then all of a sudden you hear a loud noise, and someone just finished their potty break. You see, 'cause, the mold was taking a fat mold, and then so hey, wait, hold up, I still need my life support. Let me have it. But he gets stuck on this corner, so it's not like he can even do anything. On
He's gonna run
Madhouse
around.
though, there's a smaller molded as well, and that boy really messes you up.
Madhouse is not my category, that's for sure.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
run right past this guy. He doesn't touch us. The good thing about the molded on the ground is they can't cheap shot, so we thank Capcom for that.
Yeah. As soon as we repair this elevator, I mean, it's basically end of ship. So I like there's no S1, by the way.
So we're coming up on some more frame rate manipulation here in a second. Gonna be squeezing by some molded and hope for some good molded RNG so we don't get actually messed up here, and hope we do not get cheap shot. There's a big guy around this corner. You can see his shadow. Don't touch me. Okay, that's good. Now if this guy jumps back, that's double good. Nope, strafe around him.
Alright, coming up to the end of this ship in about like a minute.
Switch to 30 frames. We can squeeze past this guy. Keep it at 30 frames to squeeze. Oh, so he ran out. So that's actually faster for us. Now I need to be fast about this so he doesn't snipe me. Okay. So that's good that he ran out like that. We actually get the save free time because of it. And then this is the second to last retry of the game, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly.
I don't know the retries on PC. The other one's after you get back in the guest house, right?
Nope, the last one is in
right.
Mines.
Yeah, Mines, that's right. When she
And
says
it's the best
die.
one in the whole game.
Die!
You get crazy fast.
Oh, yeah.
So this cutscene, you get to feel real sad because you get to talk to actual Jack Baker. Gets real sad.
Yeah, actual Jack is way better than EV Jack.
Oh yeah.
And Zoe's just being the angsty teen right there. She's like, Dad, you never listened to me.
What's weird though is Marge isn't here, but the lantern is.
Yeah.
It's actually if you play the Sisters DLC, you get to learn a lot more about Jack.
Oh,
That makes
yeah.
that DLC makes you even more sad
Yeah.
because you get to see like the whole family before anything happened.
Yeah, the Daughters DLC, that's it's pretty good. A lot of the lore for the family is just straight up from that DLC. Jack's a really good guy. He's way more likable the moment you touch that one. Find out Zoe's a little bit of a prankster. Lucas is just trying to be a nerd. And then you get to like look over his shoulder to get a password and everything. And then you also find out that Evelyn's bedroom was completely hijacked.
True. If there, probably not. But if there's any donations, you can read because we're gonna be here for a minute.
Yeah, we're gonna be here for a while.
This is one of the last unskippable cutscenes, or cutscenes
one
in
of
general.
the longest ones.
Yeah. Because it doesn't just end after this. There's also another one with Mia.
Oh yeah. Like this is what you're seeing while you're inside the mold, which is kind of interesting. That it makes you trip that much, but also like it connects you to like everything else the mold's touching, which is weird.
It's kind of crazy.
Oh yeah.
So this cutscene ends, and then another one starts, where Mia saves us. She makes the rookie mistake of calling Evie a bad name, which we have seen in the past does not work out for people.
Oh no.
Rip Allen.
So she gets reinfected, even though like vaccine should have worked.
I don't like the way the molded shines. It kind of messes with my eyes. Like flickers a whole bunch.
You can close your eyes. I'll let you know what's out. And we can just listen for the knife sound too. There's no time. You have to go now.
She has some pretty crazy strength.
Oh yeah.
時間がないのここを出てあなたがあの子を探
Yeah.
して
Meanwhile, if you save Zoe here, she doesn't push you through this door. She just kind of tells you to leave, then you forget to leave, and then
You kill her.
this happens right here, but you're still inside the room. So then you gotta go where Evie's standing a little bit behind her more, find a crowbar on the ground, and just beat me to death.
あなたが
Intuitive gameplay.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
super obvious you'll find the
So I'll get control of Ethan again here. We're gonna do a little swim through the bayou.
Going down to the bayou, going through the bayou, going through the bayou, 'cause I gotta get the grenade launcher. Man, if there was like a free play mode where you could just explore the area after you finish the game, that'd be cool.
That'd be pretty rad.
Especially after you totally blew up the guest house. Or maybe you'll be able to use the bolt cutters on those chains. The gate at the beginning of the game.
There's a helicopter. Spoiler alert. It's Umbrella.
Yeah.
So once we come up here, we'll be grabbing the grenade launcher, which is pretty nice to have. We only get it at the end of the game. We don't use it very much other than in the salt mines.
There's a nifty little skip or two. It's like
There's-
1.5.
There's the button skip that you can potentially get if I'm lucky enough.
Yeah, also, if you don't grab any backpacks from earlier in the game, they'll spawn right there where you got out, which is nice.
Grab that, and we're going to switch over to neuro rounds.
Yeah, we never care about flame rounds, ever.
See if I can get button skip. Nope. My first, when I ran this game at Midwinter Speedfest, the first time I had ever done any Midwest Speedfest stuff, I actually got the button skip, and it blew my mind. I haven't gotten it since. for the
Guinness
record.
World Record. So now we've got some more of those shootable mines coming up. Sniped right there. Wow, alright.
We got a crawler come up here. She kill him like 3 shots.
I think I usually just shot like a neuro round or whatever and just like waltz.
Yeah, he's pretty easy to get around. Now I pop a neuro around here to help avoid getting
Shots.
cheap shot. Yeah, like I just got.
I think it's just because of your frame rate though, because on 60 FPS we got no problem with those guys.
Yeah. You like to avoid cheap shots, especially at this part of the game. Especially this part of the game,
Yeah.
because there's gonna be a lot of molded coming up.
Oh yeah.
Push this guy down.
I think there's one more shootable bomb. Right.
Yep. I'm gonna shoot another neuro round in here. Oh, that was a mistake.
Yeah, you just slid through.
I just wanted to avoid getting cheap shot by. Oh, jeez. Cheap shot by him.
And this is where you're supposed to read a lot of documents, but we don't really care. We just want to get the serum and leave.
Should I go for the steroids? Think I can do it before this?
Maybe. Probably could.
Oh, I didn't get it.
Rip.
I thought I grabbed it, but barely missed it.
With the extra HP, especially on this climb, I mean, totally matters so much.
I'm not missing any health. We should be fine. All right, so now this is the last very difficult part of the game, I'd say, is the doing a clean salt mines. Now, the salt mines are hard for a couple different reasons. One, molded spawn frequently, and they're all in your way. You have to kill a bunch of molded with avoiding getting caught on any of them and getting hit by any of them. So that's the struggle. Having a clean salt mines is really good.
Alright, and the retry is coming up here, like right after she says die, if I recall.
It's usually right as you get that corner, typically. Kind of varies. All right, so we're going to run by this guy.
My bad. Oh, apparently it was was a different word that was one syllable. So right here, you just gotta blow a few heads off, get to the top of the mines. He's gonna use a snifty grenade launcher that will just allow him to waltz up through a ladder like it's nobody's business. I also learned that I do the shot differently from pretty much everybody else coming up here. So I do it right as I can see their shadows. I think everyone else just like waits until they can just shoot them like point blank, right?
I guess kind of depends. I usually time it for when I can see them and I can finish them with the Albert.
Yeah.
Oh, are you talking about these guys
yeah,
right here?
those ones.
Oh,
yeah, right
those
there,
guys.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, I just strafe when I get there.
Yeah.
I do it as late as possible so that I can avoid them coming out of it and hitting me.
Yeah. And on Madhouse, there's bombs laced all around that ladder, making it slightly more difficult.
That's a nightmare.
Instead of like one giant and a regular fat molded, it's 2 giants.
All right, so that was Salt Mines.
This is the walking simulator part 5.5.
間違いないわ。ドアがなくなってるわ。
Oh, she's still okie dokie here, man. Gotta conserve ammo. It's Resident Evil.
All right, so we're just basically taking a trip through memory lane. The one key item I have mirrored here is this bomb. This bomb is going to be important here at the very end of the game. It's the last skip, quote unquote, of the game.
Yeah, so now you get to hear what Mia was hearing during that cutscene earlier.
傷つけるつもりはなかった。
そいつを殺してママ。
よくもやりやがったな、このクソ野郎が。お前も味わいやがれ。
こいつパパになりたくないって。それじゃあ
Too close. Way too
殺
close.
すしかないね。
Personal space. Come on.
じゃあ次は
Let me
マ
try
マ
to pull
が
that
お前を
screwdriver out of
殺
your
す番
hand
だよ
or pitchfork or garden fork, whatever it is, right?
I'm not sure if you can during that. I think it's like invisible.
No, I just meant earlier.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So you have to come here, have this cute little cutscene, and then you can just go straight
そ
to
うし
the
たらき
end.
っと少しはお行儀よくなるよね。
Threaten her with this, and she goes, oh no.
やめろ私に近づくな
Okay, now we're going to go for... It's called the bomb boost. This is, like I said, the last actual skip of the game. And if you mess it up, you can die. You really don't want that.
Yeah. That Mia's not real.
So she'll blast you back. You need to block some of the hits.
近づくんじゃないお前にわかるもんか
Got her. Okay.
Pretty much dead, too.
Yeah.
Actually, I believe you went down.
Yeah, I dropped down. If I didn't hit that F key, I would have died. So
Yep.
thankfully we got it, and oh no.
Magically healed. Yeah. Ah, it was the old lady the whole time?
Quick pop quiz. Where does this wheelchair go? Keep your eyes on the wheelchair.
Doesn't it go behind you?
It just I don't know where it goes.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
Where is it going?
Down.
It's just gone.
Oh, wait a minute. I think that's what she stabs you with in the end. Just because she's mad, because now she can, like, slip
So
it.
this is the last boss fight. This is part 1 of it. Normally, if you get this close to her, you just die. She'll eat you. But we use the saw here to kind of permanently stun her. It's kind of like a stun lock. To avoid that, and then it transitions really fast.
And then we get a care package from our favorite Resident Evil character.
Chris Boulder punching Redfield.
Yes.
So this is why this fight's kind of a cake. I don't do anything here. I can just literally do nothing at all. She's gonna hit us a couple times. We actually don't get to do anything until she picks us up, which is here in a second. She'll stab us through our leg.
Yup. All scripted. It's okie doke. You can ask Carcinogen. It's not real damage. those of you who don't know, Precision STA tends to do damageless runs. Oh, she dropped us Butterfingers, right?
What's that?
Butterfingers, am I right?
Yeah, right. So it's the gun that we've had the whole game that we get to get again, because this one's better.
It's got more ammo.
Now the last part here is we want to kill her in 4 shots. That's just the ending. 4 shots is what you want.
One, 2,
Uh,
6, 7, 8, 9, 9. Whole clip? Nani?
that was the last shot. I don't know what
Alright.
happened. It felt like the bullets weren't actually doing anything.
That's interesting, because you definitely hit the first one. for
Yeah, the
sure.
first shot hit, and then I broke her arms with the second shot, and then the last 2 hit her face, and then every other shot after that just didn't do anything. That was dangerous.
Whack.
On the very last shot, time coming up here in a second,
Yeah. It's like.
and
Now.
time.
129.43, but we gotta wait to see the in-game timer because that's what actually matters.
128.06. That's actually pretty good.
Congrats.
Without that last part there, that was probably a 120 sub 128 if it wasn't for that last fight just now.
For that last part, yeah.
That would have been pretty crazy. But yeah, that's Resident Evil 7 Biohazard, or Biohazard Resident Evil, however you want to say it. This game is fantastic. Shout outs to Wade, wherever he just went.
I'm grabbing my Xbox. I'm up next.
Shout outs to Wade for commentating with me, and shout outs to the staff here. You guys do great. Thanks for having us out. Shout outs to the RE7 speedrunning community. Everyone there is pretty amazing. Yeah, this game is sick. I hope to break world records soon. Hopefully. But yeah, thanks a lot, guys.